beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust, old dog.
Happy New Year. Happy Sunday. Hello, everyone. I am Felicia. Welcome to the plug with me, Felicia Williams. Listen, the plug stands for Power Living Under God. We are so glad that you have joined us today. We're going to dive right in. Some of you, this may be your first time, and if it is, you are so welcome. I am excited that you've joined us today, and it is my prayer that you will continue to join us to help us. Now, there are those of you that this is not your first time because you see, the plug has been around and it was a couple of years ago, but now we're back. You know how you have to reset, restart, refresh, renew. And here we are, and we're grateful. I'm grateful. And I say we, I'll interchange saying we because I got a team of people. It's not just me. But let me just tell you a little bit about me, the plug. Well, the plug itself, just like you plug up your phone to get a charge, I am here to just charge you in what you are already doing, being in your life. I am a parent. I have three beautiful young adult children, two phenomenal grandchildren, 7 and 3 boys to be exact, Kason and Germani. I have over 30 years of experience in education. I've taught at the elementary, middle school, and mentored at the high school level. I love children and young adults and youth. I'm also a mental health advocate because our mental capacity is very important and essential in this thing called life. Well, let me see. I think that's enough for you to sit and to get some information, but we're not just going to sit and get. I'm this type of person. Let's be engaged with one another. You'll get that opportunity to chat, to answer questions, because that's what it's about, collaboration and communication. Today, today, our topic is one of the things that I'm passionate about is parenting. We're going to take a deep dive into the art of parenting. You see, friends, everybody has this in common, that at some sort of time in our life, you either are a parent, you've been a parent, somebody has parented you, either if that's from being a biological parent, you've been had the opportunity to be a parent who's adopted children, or maybe you're an aunt or an uncle who you have the responsibility of parenting a niece or a nephew. Whatever the case may be, we have this in common. When we first started the journey of parenting, we all started with the same thing. No matter which location you live in on the map in the world, your nationality, your ethnicity, your status, your economic status, all of us had this in common. And I'm going to show you what that is. You see it? It's a canvas. It's a blank canvas. We all started with a blank canvas. The first slide will show you that we're going to be talking about the art of parenting. And you see some color on the slide, but on this canvas, there's nothing. You see, when I had my children, I had nothing, meaning I didn't know what I was doing. I heard my mother say, I didn't have a clue. Many of you may have that same story. We started with a blank canvas, with the gifts that God gave you and me called what? Children. This is how I started. But during our time together today, I want, and it's my hopes that you as a parent understand how important you are to your children, to the life of your children. Blank canvas. If you're pregnant right now, be encouraged. You too will start out with a blank canvas. But the idea is that this canvas shouldn't stay blank. You need to add a little color, just a little bit. Now, the color can be of your choice. And I'm just going to show you how that looks. You may think, girl, what are you doing? That's simple. What is this all about? Oh, it's about you and I adding life, because color brings about life, to our gifts called what? Children. Now these colors on this canvas, they don't make a beautiful picture at this time, because parenting takes time. It'll all come together after a while, by and by. Well, art. When I think of art, I think of that's one of the things that we have decreased in our educational system. We've taken a lot of the arts out. Art is very important for the growth and development of any child. But hear me well, parents. Who helped you become the beautiful tapestry of a parent that you are? You see, it starts with this. Do you value your role as a parent? Do you see parenting as a reward or do you see it as a challenge? Now, it is a challenge, but it too is a reward. My hopes today is that you walk away with knowing you are the artist in your own life and the life of your children. Let's look at art. The next slide. Art can be a way for people to express their emotions and process difficult experiences. Now, doesn't that sound like parenting? Because our emotions are involved. Children have emotions, but you have emotions. Remember, I said I have background in education. It's always amazing how, yes, children sometimes have a hard time regulating their emotions. But once I meet the parents, sometimes the apple don't fall far from the tree. That's not a necessarily bad thing. However, the art of it all is when you and I, as parents, recognize if I don't have the ability or don't use the tool to regulate my emotions, I am painting a picture for my children. Look at the other word in this process, difficult experiences. How do you handle your experiences in front of your children? How do you handle them when your children are not in front of you? There's an art to it, y'all. I want you to pause and think about how did your parents take the time to add color to your life? And you may be saying, my life was black and white. Now, we all have some black and white moments. That just means it may be some tragic. It may be some trauma, not even maybe. Life comes with that. But what about, is there any color in your life? Was there any love and acceptance? Was there anything positive that the people who were in your life added? Did anybody add any value to your life? Better yet, how are you being the artist of your children's life? How are you adding value to them? Well, today, there are three things I want us to look at as it relates to art and parenting. Art, parenting, how are they connected? How is art connected to parenting? Think about that and share with me what you think. Remember, I said this is an engaging platform because oftentimes we don't engage with one another. We don't have these real conversations. How is art and parenting connected? If you think about your life, think about how you were parented. How does art relate to your own parenting skills? Or how did your parents, as they parent you, how could that be connected to art? Come on in and tell me about it. Let's talk about it. Because the more we have these conversations, I'm convinced the better we will be. Art, parenting. Remember, I opened up with a blank canvas. We got color. Think about some of the things that's involved in art. A canvas, a palette. Here's a palette. All of these palettes are not filled. Few colors are placed in these palettes. We got some paint brushes. Don't all y'all talk back to me at one time. How is art and parenting, how do they go hand in hand? How are they connected? Now, I know if I had your children here, they would talk to me. So what we want children to do, come on in the room. Come on in the room and talk back to the plug. And of course, I'm going to shed some light on how I think arts and parenting go hand in hand. Thank you to all of you that have joined. And let me put this plug in. If I said something that adds value to your life, or you heard something that somebody else can benefit from, do me a huge favor. Share it. Tell somebody. Because now, if it was something that you didn't like, we will share that. Let's practice sharing something that's good. So, art and parenting. Let me show you. First, image. On a canvas, you're going to create an image. An artist sits on the stool and begin to do the work of an artist. You do know artists have to be mindful of what they're doing. How mindful are you and I as we parent? The first thing I think that parenting and art has in common is the word image. In God's word, it reads this way. So God created. Let's just start right there. God created. That's an artist. That's a creator. God is not like you and I. God is sovereign, but God created. The creator created us. So if I'm created and you're created by the creator, you have creativity in you. So as a parent, you ought to tap into your creativity to nurture kids. So God created man in his own image. In his own image. God created you and me in his image. Then he gave us an opportunity to procreate. Create. God created us in his image, and now you got children that look like you, talk like you, walk like you, and yes, act like you. Is that good? Are there areas that need improvement? So God created man in his own image, and in the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. The word created. Do you think of your role as a parent as being a creator? Well, you are. You are a creator of that little boy, or that little girl, or that young man, or that young lady. You are a creator. What are you doing as an artist? Are you just putting a little dab there, a little dab here, and you just did you leave your canvas blank? It looks like this. When a child feels like they're not worthy, when a child feels like they're not valued, maybe it's because we've tapped out as parents to add more color to their life, finding out what it is they need. Remember, you are a creator. So being a parent and art has this one thing in common: image. An artist uses their paintbrush to create an image. Parents, your children are created in the likeness of your image. You know, it's called DNA. Check the DNA. It's interesting to me how often children maybe misbehave or they're doing the right thing. And we forget as parents, it's because it's in their DNA. At the worship service where I belong, we are connected by our DNA. Our DNA is prayer and worship and fellowship and serving. It's in our DNA. So what that means is when you encounter someone at our church, you should be able to see the DNA, which comes from God. But it's the same thing as parents. As parents, your DNA shows up. But what I realize sometimes we act like we act like we're married. You know, I'm married, she was a virgin, and by she was favored by God to be able to carry Jesus. There was no intercourse. That ain't our story. So sometimes we tell a story like it's just one of us. It's two DNAs in there. So sometimes what we do is act like it's just one. We may say something like, you act just like your daddy. Or We may not even mention the dad, or you may not even mention the mother. But just because you didn't mention it doesn't mean the image of that individual, the blood running through your child's vein is not there. It is. So the best thing you and I can do is have self-awareness. And I used to say it this way. I look for in my children, I can see it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. All of it's wrapped up, tied up in them. And so when I see something that perhaps is not essential for them to thrive by, that helps me to pray about it. How can I pray? Because I lived it. I see it in them, so I can pray about it. I can be effectual in my prayer. Image. I got a question. Someone says, I think it went away. It'll come back. Oh, here it is. It says we have to be creative with how we parent based on the kid's age. Absolutely. I want to pause right there. Someone said we have to. I think it's not someone. It is, oh, Diane, my big sis. Hey, Diane. Thank you for joining. How? So we must be creative in how we're parenting based on their age. I think this is important because remember, our children have our DNA. They're growing and developing. We make sometimes this mistake. Your child is 13. I'm going to use the famous 13 because let my mama tell the story. It was 13 that she went to the Lord and said, who child is this? I understand. I had one of the moments with my own children. Well, if you're a parent, you have a 13-year-old. You don't parent your 13-year-old like they're 5. Oftentimes, this is what we do unconscious. This is why these conversations are important because as your child grows, your parenting should grow. You should now level up in your parenting. That's the art of it. You should level up like a beginner artist, an intermediate artist, an advanced artist. There are levels to parenting. And this is the reason why if you're still parenting a 13-year-old like they're 5, that's where you get your friction. That's where you get your sometimes the aggression or the emotions that are need to be regulated. And we see them in the schools or we see them in the community. It could go back to how are we parenting them? Are we parenting them according to their age development? Great question. Great comment, Diane. I saw this and see this in schools all the time. And I had to check myself. Even, I'm going to give you another example. My children, like I said, are young adults now, 32, 20, don't, 29, 27. And I don't need neither one of you saying anything to me about your age. I know. Anyway, so if I'm talking to one child, and I used to do this, have this bad, I would talk to one. But when I'm talking to one child about a situation, then I include all of them. But it took the children in their young adult age to tell me, okay, Alexis may say, I'm not Alex. Or Alex may say, I'm not Alante. Those are the names of my own children. And I had to step back as a parent to see it for what it was. That's true. Just because they all belong to me, doesn't mean that I need to handle them by the situation with all of them being the subject matter. You deal with one child at a time. Think about it. God don't deal with me based on you. We all are God's children, but God deals with us accordingly, according to the measure of our faith, according to how intimate we are with him or not intimate, according to where we are. But he loves us the same. He demonstrated his love for us the same. But how he deals with us is vastly different. So we should take that in consideration. And that's still tied to image, being created in God's image. And then our children are created in our image, so to speak. So deal with your children accordingly. Questions, comments, concern. Next slide. So the first one is image, right? The second one, paint. So the question is, how is art and parenting, how they're connected? Image, paint. All right. Paint, what you mean paint? Well, color. This scripture came to mind for me with paint. The word paint is not in it, but check it out. Exodus 35 and 31 says, and he has filled him with the Spirit of God, with skill, ability, and knowledge in all kinds of craftsmanship. It takes a craftsman to be able to be skillful to do a thing. You and I have to be skillful in our parenting. Remember, we started with a blank slate. Everybody does. It's real time, on the job training as your child grows, as children grow, as they grow in them teenagers, their young adult years. We have to learn who they are. We don't stop learning. We don't get to a place to think we have arrived, like we know all the answers. No, because as your children are growing, guess who else is growing? Or should be? You, me. We're not the same. If you had a child at 20, when you are 50, you don't think the same. So the paint, friends, is that you get to choose the color to go on your canvas. That just simply means you get to choose as your child goes through each stage how to make adjustments to your painting. Now, if this canvas was filled, then you get another canvas. In other words, we got to make adjustments. The paint matters. How are you painting the life of your child? Are you painting at all? What skill set are you giving your children? What do you know that you're teaching your children? What pitfalls have you fallen into that you don't want your children to fall into, but you didn't have that conversation with them age appropriately? I want to say that because now you don't need to be talking to a 5-year-old like you talking to a 20-year-old. And sometimes we do that. And we expect a 5-year-old because, we say this saying, they before their time. I get it. And a lot of them are. But remember, they're still 5. So we need to make certain that we are in tune, being intentional about where our children are as we parent them so that we can parent them well. Because remember, you are the artist and you are adding paint to the life. That means you are adding life. You have that ability as a parent. I think so many times that we talk about the children, the good, the bad, and ugly, but the parents, in a good way. I have a 3-to-1 rule. The 3-to-1 rule is this. What 3 things are you doing right? What 3 things that are celebratory that you can talk about to your children or about yourself through your parenting journey that you're doing right? You yourself can look in the mirror and say, you know what? It was blank at first. I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm doing this. Oh, I'm doing that. Name 3 things that are positive. Because see, it's easy, y'all, for us to sit down and count up what's going wrong. We go to the school and we're telling them what's wrong. We tell the child what's wrong. We're telling our spouses, our boo and our bae, what's wrong. I challenge you today. What's right? What are you doing right? What are you doing that's praiseworthy as a parent? See, that's the paint. And it's 3-to-1. Then you can talk about the one challenge. I'm sure there's more than one. But if you start out thinking about the good things, then you'll start thanking God for the gift of children and for the gift of the responsibility to nurture and train children. It's a gift that comes with challenges because you do know you got to unwrap gifts now. That's the paint. So there's image. That's how, art and parenting are related or correlated. Paint. Because in this scripture alone, it talks about the craftsmanship. It talks about skill. And my favorite part, he has filled him with the Spirit of God. That's the foundation. Does your child have a foundation? Who are you building? Do they have a foundation? Because life will do what? Rock and reel. You know how the young people say life be life, will life. But the question is, when life lives, does your child have what it takes to lean but not break? To maybe have a bowed down head, but not be in despair, not give up. To go through some things and feel hurt and be disappointed, but not give up. That comes from having a sure foundation. That foundation, my friends, is in God alone. I'm not talking about what I heard. I'm talking about what I live. Because life will knock you off your feet. But if you are founded upon the foundation that, yes, something as simple as, yes, Jesus loves me. This I know, for the Bible tells me so. It's the foundation. It's those simple things that confound the wise. It's those things that as your children grow, the Bible says it this way: train them up. A child in the way he should go. I'm going to add the way he should grow. When he or she departs, or when they grow into a different area, they won't depart from what they've learned from your house, from my house, that foundation. I can stay there for a moment. Foundation. My concern with the young people today is the foundation. Yes, we have church online. We do. I done been to church online. And it's not in a building. Let's get that understood. But what values and principles or standards are you as a parent giving your children? Can your children survive when life gets to life? And thank you. That's why Proverbs 22:6 in context: train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Amen. Exactly. Because here's the deal. Thank you. I don't know who that was, the team, but thank you who shared the context, because that's important. Yes, ma'am. Or yes, sir. But here's something important too. If your child don't know the address, but it's been drilled into them because it's written on their heart, they'll be able, when life gets to rocking and reeling, to stand. All right, image, paint. The next one, how art and parenting is related. Creativity. We talked about this. Creativity. You are God's masterpiece. How many times have you told your child, you my masterpiece? Have you told your children, I love how you're growing. I love how you are doing this or that. How often are you encouraging your children to be the best at what they can be, and be the best at what they're becoming? Because I love now to help children know they're becoming. They're not there yet. Guess what, y'all? We are still becoming. You have not arrived. I have not arrived. That's the beauty of it all. I get a brand new canvas every day. Brand new mercy. You get a clean slate. Clean slate. Every day you wake up. What about your children when they get up out the bed, getting ready to go to school? Some of them already been back from the holiday break. Some of them going back tomorrow. When your children awaken in the morning, what's the first thing you are saying to them? Whether they're in high school, middle school, or elementary, or young adults. See, I can be vulnerable here and be authentically honest. My daughter and I hadn't always had the best relationship. It was my daughter during a time of trauma, or during the time of, I was going through a divorce at the time. And my daughter said to me, Mama, you can't fix everything. Surely I can. I'm the fixer. You know, as parents, we fix it all. But it was at that moment, y'all, that took a step back to look at me and realized that I was trying to keep being the helicopter parent to dive in and save them, just dive in and save them. Part of creativity, parents, is this: being creative enough to step back and allow the paint to settle, allow the paint to dry in their lives. Don't keep adding, let the paint dry where it is. Pray about it and watch God. Because sometimes we're trying to fix what needs not fixing, but it needs to be lived out so that they can learn from their experiences. That's being creative too. Image, paint, creativity. Because we are God's masterpieces. He created us in his image. He adds life to us. When we want to give up, God keeps adding life. When he adds each day, there's brand new mercy when we get up. The creative part about it is he don't give up on us. When I'm not faithful, God's still faithful. When I mess up, God still loves me. What about parenting? We should correct children, but we should do more loving on them. We should redirect them, but we should use the power of our mouth to speak life into their lives. Are you doing that? And if you're not, or you find yourself like, I haven't been doing that a lot, here's the blessing. You can start now. You can always start again. Anytime you wake up and got breath in your body, we can start again. Even when my young adults, like I said earlier, my daughter now, oh, we good now. But you know where it came from? For me to step back and look at me. You know, Michael Jackson said, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. Ask him to change his way. I had to talk to the lady in the mirror. You have to talk to yourself. The artist has to look at the artist in the mirror to change the dynamics of the painting, if you will. I'm going to pause for the cause. Are there any questions, comments? All right, here's one. Sometimes the canvas can have two different styles of art and images if they are raised in two different households. That's good. Thank you, Daydream. Now, okay, let me get my composure. All right. So, if children are raised in two different households, that can be challenging. Yes, because now you have two different artists, and those two artists they actually are painting on that same canvas. If we look at the canvas being the child, my recommendation is that parents have to find the common ground, sometimes to co-parent. And if that opportunity is not made available, then you have to only do what's best that you can do by actually adding life to that child. And then here's the number one thing: pray. Pray, 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 pray. Much prayer, much power. Little prayer, little power. No prayer, no power. So an interesting thing, like I said before, being in education, I've had the opportunity, and even in mental health, had the opportunity of seeing where children get pulled because parents are not together, and parents are trying to do their best they can to raise them in different households. I think this is something simple, but yet we look over. Have you taken the time to ask the children how they feel? Allow children to grieve through divorce. Divorce is a process, and it's a grieving process. And even if your children are young adults and you and your spouse end a marriage, it's still a loss. And we have to allow our children to grieve. And they do not grieve. Don't expect your children to grieve like you, because the relationship you have with your ex or former partner is not the same relationship that you have with your children. Can I be real? This is what happens. Because there's confrontation, or the relationship between you and your partner or ex um, husband or wife, that doesn't work, and y'all have some animosity, let's say that, the relationship that person has with that child is not the same as the relationship that you have with that person. And sometimes we get angry because the child looks like they loving on them more. Can I be real? Sometimes we get mad because you want the children to treat the other parent bad because you got a bad experience with them. That's not right. That's not being a good artist. What we have to do is deal with our own canvas and still add life to our children, because it's their relationship with their parent. That's different from the relationship with you and their dad or you and their mom. Thank you, Dajan. That was a great comment, because that can be very challenging. And the number one thing, y'all, is communication. Communication, communication, communication. And not necessarily just with the parent, with the children. Talk to the children. Ask the children how they feel. Here's another question. If you like what you're hearing, oh, I'm sorry, that's not a question. If you like what you're hearing, show your support, please, via the Cash App, $ the Felicia Williams. I like to say it this way. The number 5, y'all, stands for grace. You got 5 on it. Let me tell you, people want to know where their money going. Your 5 on it is going to support where we can give inspiration and encouragement across the globe. But not only that, we're helping children by way of different adding to their life situations. We have young people who are without homes, young people who have no food. The plug is a connector. I'm plugging people in where they need to be. Me and my team getting resources where families, because it's not just a child, we in this together. So if you feel led, do just that. And if you don't have it, that's fine. Another thing you can do is share. Share the wealth, y'all, because it's about that. It's about that. All right, so image, paint, creativity. And here's the next slide. Parents, this is what we offer. Think of each of these as color: love, acceptance, guidance, protection. As your children develop physically, emotionally, spiritually, and socially, they need these things. They need the color of love. They need acceptance. But here's the reality. Parents, lean in. If you don't feel love, it's quite difficult for you to demonstrate that to your children. If you don't feel accepted, it's quite difficult for you to allow your children to be accepted. So right here, there's a little bump in the road. As a parent, as an artist, if you don't have the tools you need to paint the picture, get the tools. Mental health, wellness, get the tools. Get part of a community, get the tools. Talk to your family, get the tools. Talk to your spouse, talk to your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your boo, your babe. Talk to somebody, get the tools. Better yet, take this thing, this device, AI, Gemini, somebody, get the tools you need. But now let me go on and tell you the best tool is have a little talk with Jesus. The best tool is the Bible. That's the book for me. That's the tool I use. I live by it. It works. It ain't easy, but it's worth it. Get the tools you need so that you can pour and so that you can add life to your children. Now, we almost coming to the end, but here's the deal. Parenting, there's no end. I still believe my mother is 78. I lied. 79. She gonna give me for telling her age, but it's a blessing. She's 79, but she still parents me. She parents me well. We're gonna always be parents. But she doesn't parent me like I am 20, because that would be a problem. So make certain that you are parenting from the space, the right space. Add life to your children's life. It's important. It's essential. It helps us to thrive. Here's the last bit of information I have for you. Here are all them paintbrushes you see them in that slide. Parent is much like art, y'all. This is what we talked about. It serves as an outlet for creativity. Parenting serves as the outlet for creativity. The Creator did it best when He created you and created me. Look at us. None of us are alike. Nobody on the face of the earth has the same amount of hair follicles, look identical. Even identical twins are not alike in every aspect. That's what you call profound creativity coming from Himself. In parenting, you will have to understand what it involves. We all was new to it. But the deal is, are you true to it? Are you true to giving love and acceptance? Are you true to giving guidance? Are you true to helping children learn how to make informed decisions? Because hear me well, they're looking at your canvas. Are you demonstrating a visualization that shows life after trauma, life after pain, life after disappointment? Are you showing life in life? Like, what does that look like if we ask your children? How you problem solve, how you handle situations, how do you respond? Or are you always reacting and wonder why the school keep calling you? Take a time to look at it for what it is and see yourself as an artist created by God in His image, and now God gave you a responsibility to paint a beautiful picture in the lives of your children. That doesn't mean it won't come with pain and disappointment, twists and turns. It just means you have what it takes. And if you don't, ask for it. You have not because you ask not. It's your responsibility. It's our responsibility to paint a beautiful picture because God created us in His image. And I don't know about you. I look at me and I say, go on, girl, you is beautiful. You are beautiful. I know that was not the proper English. And if you just have, if you're saying to yourself, it's difficult, look outside. Nature in itself is beautiful. Creator does a wonderful job every day. There's beautiful trees of color and even the blades of grass, the sky, the sun. That's just to name a few. Mountains, depending on where you are, the landscape. I wonder if our children were a picture of how we parented them, and God had to judge us on how well we use the tools that were given us. I wonder what the Creator would have to say. Would he say, well done? Would he say, you didn't use all the tools I'd given you? Would he say, now this is black and white, you didn't add no color? Our job is to do the best we can with what's been given to us. And yes, we recognize sometimes you may not have the tools. Let us work together. What you don't have and somebody else have, we're going to work together to make it happen. Community is key. We've done enough living this life, beating up on one another with this. Even our children with our mouth. Speak life. Remember the 3-to-1 rule. What 3 things are working to the 1 challenge? Tell it to your children tonight. They got to go back to school tomorrow. If some of them already returned, every day they leave your presence, let them leave with color. Because what they leave you with, that's what they take with them. In the schools or on a job, be mindful that the art of parenting is real. I hope that today something was said or done, you heard, that will help add value to your parenting. And if not you, somebody else, share it. Email me at thepluglady2020@gmail.com for questions and concerns, what you would like for us to, what topics you would like for us to talk about. Because we're going up, y'all. Remember, if you would like to sow a seed, do that by using the Cash App, $ the Felicia Williams. Remember, you got 5 on it, $5 is fine. It don't matter if you got 2, because it's not about the money as much as it is about the investment in your children, the investment in the information, what you do with it. Use it. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with your girl. I am the plug. Power living under God. Felicia, until next Sunday at 5 live, do what you do best. Get your tool and paint life in your life of your children and yourself, because you can. You got this. You got the power living under God. Until next time, bye now.